Well, my dear Bullahs and Barrows, welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It is a lovely Saturday morning over here from Helsinki, Finland, and there's actually plenty to talk about in the short-term time frames. Bitcoin hinting at a little bit of a move once again, so it is time to prepare, my friends. And with that in mind, I lead you into... Haha, yes, finally I have an intro back again, and it looks oh so good. And of course, I would like to wish you the best in the haps before we get into this. And with that said, let's now put the focus on the Krown Chain application, which we found at app.krownchain.net. And what do we see? We actually see plenty of things as I make sure that my desktop audio is turned off over there. All right, no silly sounds in the background today. But more importantly, what do we see? We see plenty of things. First and foremost, I actually should say, because it is literally the last day for the winter sale, not the summer sale, that there is 20% off for all programs. I'll get into more detail a little bit later, but of course, if you're not going to see that, what I'd strongly suggest, never, ever, and this applies for just about anything, but especially with these, never, ever invest in any of these programs without actually watching the videos that accompany them, because they're going to explain who they're for, who they're not for. Anyways, like I said, I'll cover it on at the end of the video. I think it's just better for flow. And with that said, what do we see on the Krown Chain application over here, which we found at app.krownchain.net, and it's 100% free, so take advantage of it. And actually going over a massive overhaul for the new year very soon, which I'm really excited for. The developers have been showing me what they're working on, and it looks really fucking cool. So with that said, I don't want to spoil too many surprises, but Bitcoin dominance now once again heading up from yesterday to today. I believe we were just in the low 70% yesterday, somewhere around like 70 and a quarter to 70 and a third. Now heading up another about 0.5%, it looks like. While open interest also does head up as Bitcoin essentially ranges for a full 24 hours on what is essentially a holiday. And as we said, typically speaking in traditional markets, the very end of the year, like from Christmas to New Year's Eve, essentially is kind of like a write-off in a lot of ways. Most people don't even go into trade, and things are mostly stale and just kind of float upwards. And that's pretty much what we've seen thus far. But now that it's January, and with regular markets not opening up tomorrow, but the day after that, it's game on once again. But for now, things are still looking good, and actually in the lower term timeframes, there's some pretty major hints of what's going on. Now, open interest actually did head up from yesterday to today again as well. We did see about 150 million added, and that is within the context of an uptrend, as Bitcoin does once again test the top side of the upside resolution at I believe it was 29,500 on a 4-hour closure, which we'll reference soon enough. Anyways, also in the fear and greed index, quite literally just stuck at a 94. It's broken. No, it's not broken, but well, it makes sense that the market would be an extremely greedy zone for the last couple of months when Bitcoin's been literally going more than about 100% over the last few months. So with that in mind, don't really see anything too out of the ordinary right there. However, it is a warning signal, but it can't be used in and of itself. Obviously, if you use it in and of itself, you would be fucking wrecked because you'd been shorting, back in like October, November, right? That would have been a terrible idea. Career ending perhaps in a lot of ways too. So it obviously needs to be accompanied with other things, but it does provide a bit of an initial warning signal. And then we'll go over criteria for that a little bit later as well. Funny rate also more or less muted here. We do see that FTX once again the outlier at 0.11%, but that's not accompanied by any of their major exchanges. All of their exchanges are hanging around 0.01%. Bybit, BitMEX, Huobi, and Binance, and Femex kind of out there as well, and Deribit at 0.01%. Even OKX was actually negative. It's showing a negative rate right here, negative 0.03%. So with that in mind, I still want to see 3+ exchanges for a day or two at the very least, preferably 2 to 3 days, print above 0.1% region, and that's when you typically do see your parabolic highs being put in. At least what I've noticed over the past few years since referencing this data. Anyways, into the actual chart action we go, and I do want to remind myself that of course the 2-day and 3-day, which are the 2-day is closing today, I believe. Yes, indeed it is closing today at 7 p.m. Eastern time, and the 3-day is not, right? Yeah, it's not. It closes tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll watch the 2 days. That is the highest term time frame, closing the soonest. And once again, we're gonna have a chance to close above the top side Toronto band. And of course, that already happened on the last closure. In fact, the last few closures. And I basically have the same analysis to be looking at this that we've been saying for a long time now. As long as we see 2-day deal to closing above the top side Toronto band, I am still looking at this as a trend in progress immediately now within the next 48 hours. And once again, it's gonna have a chance to do that again, and that does set in an upside bias here. I know that things look crazy. I know that this chart is just absolutely insane, and if we put it on linear scale, it gets even more. But I've learned in the past not to guess where these parabolic blow off tops do come in around. And if I had to call it right now, yes, I do think that Bitcoin will be making new all-time highs. In fact, we've already made new all-time highs, it looks like, in the early morning hours, or have we? As we said yesterday, nope, came about $2 shy on Stamp. What about Mexico? Mexico came actually about 18 bucks, or sorry, about 20 bucks shy. So fair enough, getting fucking close there. And more importantly, do I want to go over the low-term timeframes yet? Yeah, I think we'll go over the low-term timeframes now, and then we'll come back and lasso around the higher-term timeframes, because we did a pretty big deep dive into that yesterday. So of course, if you want to go into the deep dive for the higher-term timeframes, monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, and even yearly, definitely reference yesterday's video, which I actually put in the long-term analysis playlist. So with that in mind, we're going to go to the low-term timeframes over here, and on the 4-hour, once again, Bitcoin threatening a move as it does, as it still hasn't closed above our topside resolution, which was that 4.236 Fibonacci extension right here, but it's looking really fucking likely that's going to have a chance to do it on this next one. In fact, I would say this is probably going to be a formality with the way that the volume signature is looking, as it does kind of tail off as trend continues to the upside, and more importantly, historical volatility percentile, which actually hinting at a major move coming probably even later today, which, by the way, it's almost been normalized that we do see a trending move on Saturday for like the last few weeks, actually. Now, of course, this trending move always has actually come in the same direction as the greater trend, governed, well, basically just the upside, because that's basically all that it's been for the last few months. So again, my sort of theory with that still actually does hold, because I'm talking about a counter trend move to the general trend. Typically doesn't happen over the weekend, or at least if it does happen, it gets spit back on out, usually on Monday or right after CME opens. So with that in mind, this could very well come within the context of the greater trend, and I would be looking likely for another gap up open on CME coming in tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, as historical volatility percentile being in the single digits once again does suggest that we are gearing up for a move probably today. We do see that 4-hour RSI hidden bullish divergence playing out back in the bullish control zone. We did test the edge of the bullish control zone yesterday, as we said, and I'd be looking for this one to give another try to the upside. This is very constructive. This is very good. Again, I know this all sounds crazy, but it can get crazier, and I do think that it will get crazier here. However, be on the lookout, and we're going to talk about very specific criteria to talk about a greater pullback, even on a short-term time frame, which at this price point is going to be about a $2,000 pullback, which is kind of crazy. But until that happens, I remain bullish on all time frames. I'm just starting to sound like a fucking moon boy here, but I guess it's better to be a moon boy in a moon market, of which Bitcoin has certainly been ever since when we got bullish was taking out that $11,500 high, which was, I believe, in October. Yeah, I was right on over here. This was August, actually. No, August, yeah. So fair enough. Anyways, let's go back down to the 4-hour, and what do we see? We do see that 4-hour Stokes are actually going to naturally cross back onto the upside with any sort of a closure on this next one. And I believe it was about 2 hours. 1 hour, 47 minutes and 54 seconds. So you will have clarity on this situation soon enough. And that will be coming in with any sort of a closure above 29,524 and about a quarter, of which that's looking, we're living about $150 above that right now. Obviously, that's nothing for Bitcoin in an hour and 47 minutes, let alone 5 minutes. But hey, it is there. And that would be resolution, not just above our topside resolution right here on the shorter term time frames, 29,500, but also momentum shifting to the upside at the same time as well. So breaking the consolidation plus momentum shifting in the same side of the direction of the breakout usually leads to good things. And in that case, what are we going to judge as our next targets? Well, in this case, we kind of have played out all of the areas that I typically am relevant of that I put any relevancy of from this big base over here, which was right below 20,000 bucks. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to look at the macro scale. We're going to go over here to the weekly. We're going to go to Bitstamp, as I have it all over here. And I'm going to take a Fibonacci extension from this whole accumulation zone in 2018 to 2020. This one from about 11,500 all the way down to 3,100 right here. Probably someone's going to be, but Krown, why are you not doing it from 20,000 bucks? Because this is more or less an outlier, and this is your real price action for a long time. You can see that price action played upon this $11,500 region for years, and that is relevant alongside this higher low structure right here, which is actually an ascending triangle, which obviously the measure move for that has actually already been hit off. I should note that there is a measure move for this whole formation, which actually did put in here as well, which is actually pointed up towards 35,000 bucks, which is synonymous with, confluent with, if you can see over here, the 3.618 Fibonacci extension right around $35,000. So I do think that that's going to be a big area of interest. I'm not calling a move there right now, but let's actually let's dial it down and look at the areas of relevancy here as they are. And what do we see? We do see that Bitcoin basically going to be having a chance to close above the 3 spot extension on a weekly tomorrow night. I imagine that's going to be also further confirmed confirmed on a buy daily as well. Yep, indeed. So let's go back to the weekly over here. And then what's going to be the next relative level from an algo perspective? The 3 spot 272 is a big one. At 31,500, so I would be looking for a bit of a pullback there. Nice Bitcoin back above 29,720, and we have new all-time highs, baby. Get those girthy green dildos out, shove them down your fucking mouth right now, because it's Green Dildo Saturday, motherfuckers. Hope you enjoy, and hope you're benefiting from it as well, in a more serious tone. Hey, happy 2021, my friends. Nothing's changed, but you know what? We'll tell ourselves it's different. And so, but what's actually more important is perception versus projection. And in this case right here, you know what? If you truly believe that it's different, I sincerely hope that works out for you. But well, I won't finish that sentence. We got into a whole discussion about it yesterday on the Twitch stream, which actually I'll be doing another Twitch stream today as well, doing some good old ripping and tearing, some Doom action, which I've been absolutely loving. So I've been really enjoying those conversations. Link in the description below, of course, if you are the type of person who's interested in such things. Anyways, more on the topic over here. Sorry about that. We do see that, yes, the 3 spot 272, a natural algo target above the 29,500 breakout, would be 31.5. Now, just because I'm saying 31,500-ish region, based off this breakout right here, does that mean that it's going to happen in the same fucking 4-hour dildo? No, obviously not. We're looking at this, judging it by a weekly schedule here. So it's probably going to take, it's probably going to take like a week or 2 or 3, whatever it ends up being. It's, don't need like a hard and fast rule on it. But I would be looking for that again, if and only if, which is looking, to be fair, a little bit likely right here, if Bitcoin does close above this 29,500 pivot right here on that, at the very least a 4-hour. If we saw it on a 12-hour, I'd feel a little bit better about it, but again, this looks more or less good. Daily's going to be a backfill on yesterday open and up. I mean, it's probably going to go for another move to the upside here. Anyways, above there, we do have a few more areas of interest. Now, of course, 33,000 is going to be a nice round psychological even number. It is also the 3 spot 414, but just like we spoke about on the 2 spot 414, I don't really see those play out all that much, except for just a short and medium term consolidation, usually between the 414 and the 272, actually. So while I would want to be aware of that area, typically speaking, if you do get above this, the 3 spot 272 in this case, your next real algo target is going to be, for like a more major move is actually going to be the 618 right here, which is just below 35,000 bucks. So all of that does work with each other and does work quite well. And confluence is usually the name of the game. And in this case right here, I would essentially be bullish, looking for those targets to get met, especially as long as this one condition is met, the 2-day and 3-day Trollender bands of which, and also the weekly by extension, which is actually closing tomorrow. So we should talk about that as well. The 2 days closing tonight. So that's the most relevant, for most proximal time distance. And yes, it's looking like it probably does. However, well, I guess it wouldn't take too much to undo that. Yeah, actually, not at all. In fact, 29,400 is the topside Trollender band on the 2-day right now. So actually, if we were to close below, I'd be looking for a greater range to kind of be explored between 29 and about 27 for a little bit. And then we could talk about maybe a greater pullback on top of that. But it's not really looking like it right now, to be fair. Structure still favors the upside here. Looking at the 3-day, same shit. Closing above the topside Trollender band. It's going to have a chance to do that tomorrow night. And just looking at momentum oscillators, we do see several things. ADX is strong, while DMI Plus is dominant. That's on the 3-day. 2-day, again, closing tonight. Same signature here. A little bit of a stronger ADX, to be fair. And the accumulation distribution indicator is staying positively sloped this whole way through. So pretty damn good right there too. Coming out of that last base from right below 25,000 bucks, to be fair. And then, of course, looking at the weekly, we have the same sort of setup going on right here as well, of which the topside Trollender band currently coming in around 26,700. That closing tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time would set in the buys for further upside coming into this next week of price action, likely new all-time highs with those areas of relevancy in mind at 31,500, 33,000, and 35,000, with specific interest on 31.5 and 35 as those are the big ones. Anyways, okay, let's go back down to low-term timeframes over here. And let's lay out some conditions on what would fuck this whole party up. First and foremost, the easiest way of getting this would be taking out not the last 12-hour low, but this 12-hour low right here. That would be 27,941. This is on Mexico. Check your exchanges. It's probably somewhere around 28,000, but it's good to verify. And if that condition is met, just by even ticking below the low of that, doesn't need a close below, but just ticking below the low of that, I would look for a short-term move to bring it all the way back down to about the 26,200 to 26,500 base down here that Bitcoin put in at the very end of December. So with that in mind, that is, a multi-$1,000 move right there about, let me just do some mental math, 28 all the way down to 26. Yeah, about $2,000 move right there. And of course, that is still encompassed within our prior ranges right here, of which I need to move this back because it's in our face once again. There we go. And I'll move this over here. I do read the comments, and I do understand that my face is in the fucking way of this price action. My apologies for that. I need to figure out a better place for it, but moving things around is always brings up some issues. But of course, back on topic here, 26,200 would be about the target for that. I would be looking for a bounce if that, again, if that condition was met priorly. However, this is the big one right here. If Bitcoin does start to break back down below 26,200, I would look for further continuation to the downside, a pretty significant move once again. Your algo target would be the 2-spot 414 with a bounce implied along the way at 24.5 and ultimately 23,800. It looks like would be the big target for potentially a big bounce. That's a really important number right there because the way that the monthly, bi-monthly, and quarterly all closed does set in a bias, at least for myself, and this is not financial advice, I'm not a financial advisor, and hopefully we're close enough to the T&Nerd session right now that I don't say anything too crazy that that unsuspecting ears can't accurately discern, for whatever reason. And in this case right here, the topside Toronto band on the monthly, which I do believe will get tested at some point during this month, is, well, guess where it is? It's about 24,800, 24,500 region. Obviously, it'd go down. Bitcoin price actually came down at the same time as well. But let's overlay that with the bi-monthly, which again had a fresh closure just a couple days ago. And where is that coming in? Around 24,000. Very interesting. That is right around that proverbial target. What about the quarterly right here, a 3-monthly? Well, where would that same area be? Right below 24,000 bucks again. So all of those areas overlined with each other would suggest that if Bitcoin did come back down around there, I would at the very least be looking strongly for a medium-term, probably even long-term bounce reversal, to be fair. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'd be very interested at the very least for a bounce buy and probably, probably does turn into the next trending movement. I do want to go over this now again as well. Because ultimately, I think that this is important, to be fair, and it's this. Anytime that Bitcoin's closed on new all-time highs, let's go back on over here. Anytime, and forgive the fibs on this one. Anytime that Bitcoin's closed on new all-time highs for the weekly, it's been usually melt-up time. And in this case, we do see this first one all the way back in 2010 when Bitcoin was literally 9 cents. Okay, that's 9 cents. 9 cents, not $30,000, but 9 cents. Went up, about 450% after that condition was met. Does the same thing over here after a short-term reversal, close on new all-time highs, then boom, melts up 200%. Not bad. That one you will notice is probably on the lower side. Then same thing over here, short-term reversal, close on new all-time highs, then boom, up almost 3,000%. Pretty fucking nice. Then reverses for quite some time on this one, about a half year maybe, and then close on new all-time highs in 2013 for another melt-up phase of about 12.37%. Then goes for a more short-term reversal right here over the course of a few months, and then close on new all-time highs for a melt-up phase of another 630%. And then the big one in 2014, 2015 as it reverses for about a year, and then close on new all-time highs and postulates itself for the next run to 20,000 bucks, which was a about 2,000% move right there as well. And then guess what? It's done the same thing over here as of that closure above $19,000. And what would this look like from a percentage gainer here? It's been going up each and every day that we do this, by the way, 57% actually. So 57% is certainly a very impressive run for the untrained eye, absolutely. But within the context of the historical analysis for this specific signal being given off, is it an outlier? It is an outlier. It's on the lower side. The next lowest one that we've seen was a 200% move all the way back on over here, if you recall. I believe it was this breakout actually, which actually looks pretty damn good to begin with. Yeah, about 200% move right there. And if we were to just play around with numbers on the lower side, 200% move from our breakout point would be what? That would be okay, my chart doesn't go high enough, but I can already tell you because I've done it yesterday and the day before, it'd be about 6,000 bucks. So fair enough, not bad at all. On top of that, if we were to take one of the higher ends, which here we go, here's where I really need to make sure that the TA nerds are in the house and not the spoon boys. Let's just fuck around with numbers for a second. On the higher end, we've seen about a $2,000 gainer to the upside. I believe that was kind of like the highest one that we saw. So let's just come up with a range. Okay, that's 1,000%. 1,000% puts Bitcoin at just above 200,000 bucks. That's fucking ridiculous. I shouldn't even do this. I should not do this. 2,000% would put Bitcoin at about $400,000, $500,000. So not bad. Not bad at all, in fact. And I think that, 2,000%, was it overshadowed by any other one? I think yes, maybe this one right here actually was pretty fucking nice. Nope. No, that's more than 2,000. That's 600% right there. What about this one right here? This one looks pretty nice. Yeah, this one about 3,000% to the upside. So that'd probably be like, I don't know what, $600,000, something like that. So, could it be even more crazy than that? Yes, I suppose. But just, kind of showing, historically speaking, that when these conditions are met, we typically do see more than what we've seen thus far. I'll put it that way. From a very strong standpoint over, a good amount of iterations. I mean, we have 1 iteration, 2 iteration, 3 iteration, 4 iteration, 5 iteration, 6 iteration, and working on our 7th. 3 times does make a trend, and we have more than double that now. So I'd say pretty good. Now, of course, this is on a weekly. It doesn't mean that, Bitcoin's just going to fucking lift off and go straight there. No, it's likely going to take its time. And as you can see, over the course of time, it typically takes more and more time for those moves to play out, actually. Going all the way back and over here, you can see that these moves are very abrupt and very violent. And, over time, they go through greater periods of accumulation. This one over here, being a few months. This one over here just being a couple months again as well. This one over here being about a year. This one over here being about 2 years that we just did. And, well, things are looking like they're ready to bolt it once again. So you probably did notice that I actually have a bunch of fibs on this. I was just playing around with an idea to explain it. I know I got a few questions about that. But I was showing that the 4 spot 236 based off of the prior consolidation, which, by the way, this would be taken in this fashion, which I don't even trust all that much to begin with. Not only always gets met, but it does get exceeded. And then after that level is met, it's like the big fucking melt. Like that's your parabolic blow off for the cycle, for the macro cycle that is. And that actually is reproduced on every one of these, except I actually didn't do it back down here, but I imagine it's going to be the same thing. Let's actually just see for transparency's sake and for thoroughness' sake as well. And what do you know? This one obviously way more. This one over here, let's try. Hey, get the there we go. All right, sweet one. Yep, same thing over here. Bases off the 4 spot 236, and then one more move after that, and then it's go fuck yourself time for a little bit. Same thing over here, I'm guessing as well. Yeah, actually same thing over here. You see this right here. This is the only one that's actually not giving that same sort of signal. This one over here, same one, bases off the 4th 236 before the next blow off essentially for the cycle. Again, that's the whole cycle. Same thing over here, bases off the 236 for the next blow off right there. Same thing over here. For the $20,000 one, once it actually bases off the 4 spot 236, it's straight up after that one pullback, but that's not even like a higher low. That's just continuation as far as the weekly is concerned. So let's just play around with numbers once again and see what that level would be even coming in around for a potential topside base above $70,000, which I don't even feel comfortable talking about these numbers. If you've been on this channel for a while, I hope that I've done my job by trying to be as grounded as possible, throughout amid all the jokes and everything. But I hope I do come off in that way because, first and foremost, I'm a trader. I'm not a Bitcoin like fucking lover or a Bitcoin investor, although I do enjoy both of those things. At the same time, I'm a trader first. So while we can come up with plenty of historical data that does show that that's really not all that crazy to say, I do hope that this is understood that this comes with as always a lot of contingencies, and as we outlaid in the short-term timeframes over here, first working off these areas which are going to produce like a 20 to 30% about a 20% move if they are met. These numbers are big right now, so just be careful. Just because I'm showing those areas to the upside over time doesn't mean that it just goes there from a straight line right now. Obviously, a lot of people will know that in a bull market like this, or really any bull market, you don't really generate liquidity from shorts because not really many people are shorting. Only kind of only really unintended, unsophisticated investors are shorting here, or day traders. not people who are like looking to move the market. It's going to take a long time to top out. You're going to see likely a decent phase of distribution over the course of like a month or two. But because these numbers are so big, it's going to turn around fucking fast within the context of that, because we're dealing with big numbers, and $10,000 move to the downside and then consolidation for like a month or two would be pretty fucking painful. And that's probably what it does end up being like. But that's still, I'd imagine a ways away. Anyways, okay, we're 24 minutes into this bitch, and we don't have any traditional marks to talk about today. We don't really have any forex to talk about today because it was all closed yesterday. For what it's worth, I'm basically still bullish on all major indices that we typically talk about, like NASDAQ, like SPY, and that likely bodes well for Bitcoin as well. And Bitcoin's hinting right here once again. Let's go down to a 2 hour and see if it's actually already broken it. In fact, it actually already has broken it on a 2 hour. Now, I didn't make this chart on a 2 hour, so technically speaking, I would like to further confirm that. And while we are here on the lower term timeframes, now I've realized that I didn't even go over the lower term timeframes for today, except for the 4 hour. But 4 hour looking very good, very constructive, especially on RSI, which I would look for it to govern this run. 3 hour, same thing, hidden bullish divergence playing out back in the bullish control zone, extremely constructive. HVP really fucking low right here. We're looking at a move very likely today, and will remain with upside momentum as long as you're above 29,400, as you can see. Moving on to the buy hourly right here, what do we see? Basically the same chart, very fucking good. Buy hourly RSI, extremely constructive, playing out the hidden bullish divergence once again, although a little bit too late for that, to be fair. Now it's like you're playing the breakout or not. And buy hourly Stokes, nice and direct as well. Same thing on HVP, all good. I'm sure that a lot of people are going to call it that the jewel is maybe setting up. Highly doubt it. Let's see how this one actually played out right here. Did tell you to short at about 29.5, and then we did, okay, yeah, we did go down. Oh my God, 28.7. Again, that's for a 2 hour. I mean, it's ridiculous that we even have a move like that to begin with. But fair enough. We're playing with fire right now. But yes, I would not look for this to actually produce a signal over the weekend. I never, ever take jewel sell signals or jewel signals in general, whether it be buy or sell. And that's on the same side of the general trend over the weekend when CME is not trading. Every once in a while they will work out over the weekend, but it's been few and far between since using this indicator for like the last almost 3 years now, I think. Definitely 2 years, but maybe even 3 years at this point. So it's been a while. I can maybe count two times where I saw that work out, and it was on a very low term time frame, and the move was rather muted as well. Moving on to the hourly, what do we see? Hourly Stokes, nice and erect here as well. We do have this competing trend line coming in from the last few highs, but and the actually the hourly has been pretty damn good here, to be fair. But where are these highs coming in around? So this high right here, this high right here, this high right here. And yeah, it actually would be testing on the next drive as well. But that would imply first a try to the upside. Again, HVP very low here. I strongly believe we're going to be looking at a move today, very likely to the upside, probably to 30,000 at the very least, and then game on, I guess. So fair enough. Anyways, moving on to the 12 hour, what do we see here? 12 hour Stokes, nice and erect. Oh my God, they really just shot the fuck up here as well. And I've actually been showing this trend line going all the way back as a nice horizontal. And I want to call this out because this is very interesting. This is, as you can see, a massive outlier from what we've seen in the past. Now, there has been a time where it's been around this area. This is all the way back, by the way, in June 2017. June 2017, if I might remind you, in case you've forgotten, June 2017 was way the fuck back on over here, where Bitcoin, out of the prior base, had just mounted about a 124% run, and then plays out a really nasty downside move, 40% to the downside actually. And I believe this was one of the times that China also banned Bitcoin, something like that. If you were around during that time, that was kind of like the that was a justification for everything basically. But once again, Bitcoin is back around that level, and this is the highest level that I can find. Yeah, 95 and a half about. Let's see if we go to maybe stamp, we can come up with more history. And let's just mark this off right here. I'm actually going to do this one. Let's do this one right at our current high, and let's just see what even comes above that to begin with. Yep, so that's your that's your December 2017. So this is actually $20,000 high on Bitcoin. Again, the last market cycle high, actually, where we got just a small smidgen higher than what we are at right now. Same thing over here in October 2016. There's a big breakout. April 2016 right here. But other than that, very few times, and always on like major moves. I'm talking about like this move right here, and the other ones that we just kind of identified. So It is a little bit concerning. Now, of course, just because it is coming on those levels that were prior macro highs, doesn't mean that this one's going to be macro high. We saw plenty of examples where it was within the context of a general uptrend, but still playing out very nasty downsides, very, very nasty downsides. I mean, as we measured out this one, about a 40% move to the downside from top to bottom, and then continuation implied to the upside. So fair enough. It's it's saying, hey, be on the lookout, but still short-term bullish, medium-term bullish, long-term bullish, macro bullish, and the pullback likely does turn into the next big opportunity, at least in the way that I look at things. Let's look at the daily here too. What are momentum all sort of saying right now? Daily Stokes nice and erect as long as you're above 28,400. Looks rather likely right now. More than $1,000 move at this point. Daily RSI is back above the past prior highs, so no divergences are present here unless if we literally put in a high today. So putting in a high today, if Bitcoin were to come back down and close below yesterday's low at 28,720, that would do it. That would do it, and that would initiate bearish divergence. But it's looking like it's going to do the opposite and just undo everything and create its own new segment, which I think is a lot more likely here, especially as Bitcoin enters into a new phase above $20,000. And this is all coming off of HVP on the higher term timeframes, like a daily, contracting the whole way through. And I believe that we're probably going to see our next major high being put in when HVP gets down to probably like the teens or maybe even single digits. You're going to see it probably put in on lowered volatility, and then when volatility gets a very, 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 very low, explosion time typically. At least that's the way that typically works out in traditional markets, and I'm curious to see if it works out in Bitcoin here too. Anyways, moving on to the 2-day, what do we see? Same shit. What do you see on the 3-day? Same shit. I should also notify that 3-day historical volatility percentile here, also does make me a believer that those more crazy targets certainly can get hit. We're deep inside the T-Nerd session right now, so if I had to call right now, yeah, it probably does over the next year or two, whatever the fuck it ends up being. But that doesn't mean we're not gonna have very nasty 30 to 40% pullbacks. It's probably gonna happen, but those are opportunities in the way that I look at things. This read is a very specific read. It came after about March to November, so about a 7 month contraction phase, getting into single digits, and then boom, as the moving average turns up, slope positive while it expands. Well, major fucking move. And we don't really have many examples in the history of Bitcoin where it actually has done that. I'm sure someone will point out this right here. No, this was still contracting as the moving average suggested. But even that produced about a $3,000 move from 9,000 all the way to 11,500. So actually more than a $3,000 move. The time before that was actually precipitating the coronavirus dump. We go into a major contraction phase here from July 2019 all the way to January 2020, and then it turns up, and then boom, major price action to the downside, about a 50% downer right there. Sorry, more than 50% downer right there. Same thing coming out of the base being built in 2019, and of course the dump of 2018 as well, which you can feel free to do for yourself. And yes, could this move be a more impressive move? Yeah, it could be. Very well could be. So fair enough. Anyways, go check out Mr. Buteroll here. Where's Mr. Buteroll? Where are my little shitty coins? Actually, first off, let's go check out Bitcoin dominance, because I don't want to look at altcoin Bitcoin pairings. On the whole, I would still remain massively bullish on this. I am phenomenally bullish on this. I'm even more bullish than I was before on this when I called a move above 70% once again, when shit was all the way down here below 60%. I would be looking for this to actually go above 80%. Probably later this year, maybe six months to a year. This is continuation of trend, and it's literally just starting. It's literally just fucking starting. Higher highs, higher lows, and we are brushing up against our prior high. It's probably going to enter into its next melt-up phase here within these next few months between here and what's it called, March, the end of Q1. Or would it be Q1? Yeah, I think it would. So fair enough. Anyways, so most altcoins not going to be having the best time of all time. Short term, could it turn down a little bit? No, it doesn't. It doesn't even look like it wants to turn down short term. I don't care about oscillators, don't care about indicators, don't care about anything other than trend on this. By the way, because I get that question quite often. I don't think that they work. I haven't seen them work, and I don't give a fuck about them. Let's go check out the US dollar pairings though, because that does not mean they're going to go down versus US dollar. They could very well go up. In fact, if Bitcoin goes up, I would imagine they number will go up too. And looking at the monthly for Buteroll, any sort of a move back down to like low 600 is going to be an opportunity in my eyes. I'll still stick with my 840 to 850 target on the monthly scale. What about on a weekly? Weekly, same thing, 830, 820 to 830-ish region. Probably for the next few weeks, this one looks like it's this one looks like it's ready. Weekly RSI tells the story right here. Still in motion for now, and then I'd be looking for a big pullback off that like low $800 number, mid to low $800 number. I imagine we will see a major pullback, and you can see that we're contracting the whole way through this as well. So I imagine that's gonna be the big one, and probably does set up for the next major opportunity. What about the low term time frames, like a 4 hour? 4 hour gonna likely to follow Bitcoin if it moves up here. 4 hour Stokes hinting at another potential cross the upside with any sort of a closure above 741, which wouldn't take too much. And by the way, 741 would be above. Actually, no, it wouldn't even be above the resolution point. So I'm not sure how much I trust that, but we do have potential hidden bullish divergence being printed right now. I'm getting a lot of questions about this. Now, this is covered in the Caretakers RSI program, of course. But when you see a dotted line like this, it just means that its potential can be confirmed at the closure of this next candle, and so it's not confirmed as it is right now, but it will be if we close basically here or higher on the next closure, with HVP so low that it hurts. This one probably does move up as well, playing out that hidden bullish divergence. Plus, that would likely force momentum oscillators back on the upside as well. I'd be saying, move back onto the top side of the range at 760-ish region, rather likely, and potentially continuation implied to those more meaty targets in the low $800. What else do we want to check out? Maybe Link, how you doing? Nope, I still don't have any opinion on this. Monthly didn't really do too much for me. I reserve judgment for this one. It still does stand out head and shoulders above most shitcoins, or just about every shitcoin, as far as this chart goes, as it's just a straight up trend on a monthly versus the other ones which are not. However, if Bitcoin goes up here, it's going to go up as well, and your areas of interest is going to be about $15, but this one can get nasty. Weekly Stokes are troubling. Weekly RSI is a little bit troubling as well for the short term. Yeah, I think I'll reserve judgment on that one. What about Ripple Me Nipples on the US dollar valuation? Nice little bounce off the prior all-time low. So we did get our full retrace, or not all-time low, but major low. But this one very likely does head onwards and forwards to the downside. That is. I would probably be looking for a bounce somewhere around here, somewhere around maybe 25 to 27 cents. But that's very likely going to be a sell, at least for myself, if I were to trade this, which I do not trade this because I don't have any interest in trading something like this. And what do we see? We see monthly Stokes hinting at across to the downside. By the way, they've never even been out of the neutral zone, so that should say something. And then on top of that, we do have, I imagine, some sort of hidden divergences from this high. No, we don't. Sorry, apologies for that. We do not. So I can't really say anything other than that as well. Maybe on like a weekly, it'll show something. No, not really, actually. No, but still, momentum also is turning down here as well. I don't like it, sir. I don't like it. All right, Litecoin. Let's go check out the old Lighty. 125.86. Still area of interest. Actually, we hit our 140 target, so nice, not bad. What do we do now? Monthly close on new highs. Does this one pull back down to like $100 and retest that base? Maybe yes. I don't have a strong opinion on that. My strong opinion is on further continuation to the upside, actually. Next realistic target is going to be 185 to 190 on a monthly scale. So probably going to take a little bit of time, but yeah, looking good. Anyways, we've got to check out Caretaker over here. Caretaker showing short-term time frame. Whoa, hello, how are you? Good to see you. That's the most lively I've ever seen my girlfriend in the morning. Like Finns, they don't have, they're like cold like the weather. And my girlfriend, like she has issues with even like hugging me. She's told me that she doesn't hug her family, which I'm not even that close with my family. And I hug them when I see them, which is pretty much never. But that's just Finnish culture for you. Stay far away. Don't talk to strangers. And if you get in my personal space, I will look at you, but not say anything, pretty much. Anyways, 4 hour right here, actually contracting a little bit. $30,600 would be an area. No, this is not, no. This is not going to work out. Ooh, this is a really good case study right here. So this is covered in the STC program, but this is a great fucking case right here. Okay, so this is why I have the HVP marred up with this indicator. And by the way, you can find this one for free. It's just type in Caretaker's HVP on TradingView and it'll be there. Anyways, looking at this right here. So when you see historical volatility percentile extremely low, or in some cases when extremely high as well, you don't want to be taking the consolidation signals right here. Those are going to be blasted through very likely. What you want to do is you want to go down to a very low term time frame like this, and a very high term time frame that's well above it, and you can judge some short term pivot points and then line them with the higher term time frame pivot points. So in this case right here, you would definitely not use the yellow. You might consider using the red to scalp, and the purple would be a very obvious scalp because that is going to be way the fuck out there. And this one coming from a very low level as well, but already expanding. So that would be an area of interest right around $30,000. I quite like that one for a short term, maybe a short term play, but long term probably doesn't even register there. It's nothing more than psychological, which does not account for much. And then what I want to go to is a 24 hour. So I was basing this off of first the 4 hour. So then what I do is I take 1/4 of that time frame, and then also take a 3 multiplier of that. In this case, it's actually a 6 multiplier. So again, I'm just kind of like, going around the different time frames, seeing what's relevant. It's actually the 12er that I should be referencing here. If I'm going to go off of my own rules, and that would show, it would show about the same thing as the daily anyways. Sell number one in the $31,500 to $32,000 range, and sell number two would be in the $34,000 range, but that's actually going to change on the next 12-hour closure, obviously, so that could very easily rise up to that $35,000 target, which is very interesting because that would be essentially where we're looking towards. And on the daily, it's shown that further to the fact, actually, with the same numbers essentially as we identified earlier. So all good in the hood right there. And what do we do now? We can go for the wrap up. It's wrap up time. Wrap me up and send me off to the YouTube universe, where who knows who's going to listen to this. Anyways, what do we want to do? Maybe 2-day? Yeah, we'll do the 2-day. We'll do the 2-day. Yeah, we'll do the 2-day. All right, let's wrap this bitch up. You hear that? Bitcoin closing above the Bitcoin on the 2-day going to have a chance to close above the top side shoulder band once again, of which I maintain my prior position that as long as that condition is met, I'm looking for this trend to continue within that same direction. And that current price point would be about $29,400, of which that's about $300 differential between where Bitcoin's trading at right now. So it could very easily close below there. If it does close below there at 7 p.m. Eastern time tonight on the actual closure, then yes, I would be looking for Bitcoin to fill out a little bit of space to the downside, which we'll talk about in a second here. But for now, as long as Bitcoin's above, I do think, and of course, according to the lower term time frames as well, I do think it's a little more like that Bitcoin does take the upside resolution here. And if it does close above the top side shoulder band, I'd essentially be looking for those more deep targets to get met, of which we do have our long-term fibs being overlaid over here, which I need to pull out. There we go. Come on. Show it to me, baby. There we go. That's going to be the 3.272, right around $31,500, and the 3.618, right around or right below $35,000. So those would be the big areas of interest if that condition is met. Now, of course, it's not going to happen on the same fucking 2-day dildo, but over the course of the next week or two. And that's obviously going to be met up with our 3-day, which is going to have the same chance to do that tomorrow night, not tonight, but tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern time, currently right in the same area essentially, which is coming in around 29,000, and then the weekly obviously as well, which is much lower at about 26,700. So with that in mind, let's go down to the lower term time frames and talk about what I'd be looking for right now. Let's go to my BitMexican chart, as that's one that we've been using. And Bitcoin, once again, brushing up against the 4.236 Fibonacci extension from the prior consolidation zone, right below $20,000, a very, very big one. Trend is obviously very much to the upside. Historical volatility percentile incredibly low right here, as hidden bullish evidence does get initiated on the 4-hour RSI. Very constructive read to begin with, as momentum oscillators are going to have a chance to cross back onto the upside on the next closure, or actually they already kind of did, as long as you're about 29,550. So with all of that in mind, things are looking good for an upside resolution here. I just want to see a 4-hour dildo closure, preferably a 12, but a 4-hour probably does it here too. The 2 hours already done it, to be fair, as well, above 29,500, that same 4.236. And then yes, over the next week or 2 or 3, whatever it ends up being, I would be looking for that deeper target to get met at 31,500 and 35,000 respectively. So with that in mind, we should talk about the downside resolutions on this one as well, because it's always, it's always probability in this case. If Bitcoin does take out not the last 12-hour low, not this one right here, but this one over here on the 31st of December, if it takes out that low, which is about $28,000 on most major exchanges, then I would look for another drive, almost $2,000 lower, back down to the low side range of the prior short-term consolidation, right at the $26,200 region right here. that likely does produce a short-term bounce. The next piece of price action information is very, very important though, because if this area actually does break, preferably on a 2-hour or 4-hour, then I would be looking for another more than $2,000 dive all the way down to the 2.414. That's the big one though, because that actually does start to line up with some really, really important macro areas, namely the quarterly topside Toronto band, which we're actually trending above, just starting on that last closure a couple days ago, by the way, which is going to be right around or right below $24,000. On the bi-monthly, that is going to be coming in right around $24,000, which is basically that same target as well. And the monthly, a little bit higher than that, to be fair, but will naturally come down if Bitcoin were to come down as well. And that one's currently hovering a little bit below $25,000. So that would be my next big opportunity for potentially a long-term position. Of course, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I would like to wish you the best of the best. And now let's talk about some sale time, because it is actually the last day to take advantage of the sale. As always, watch the videos that accompany these programs. They're going to go into much more detail than I will. Please, and I mean this in a sincere way, please take advantage of the free content first. It's very unlikely that the average person is going to be interested in becoming like a professional trader or doing this as a living or investing, a significant amount of time and finances into programs like this, the TA program and the options program, especially this one being even more of a learning curve, to be fair. This program is about 40 hours long, this one over 30 hours long. And that means that it's going to require a shit ton of time commitment on your own behalf. It is not a magic pill. It's going to take about, usually when I find that people are successful, it takes about a year, give or take, a little bit. But several people have come into success now, and over the years now that we've been doing this for like 2.5, maybe even 3 years, although the program wasn't out. Yeah, the program's maybe been out for like a little bit over 2 years now. People are starting to have like some pretty fucking good results. So I should say, and also it wouldn't really be fair of me to not say this next piece. If you are the type of person who's actually going to put in the effort to it, that's the kind of person who is going to really benefit the most from it. And we've been having some pretty damn good results recently, which I'm really fucking happy about. For the people who that applies to out there, I want to say massive congratulations. It's really fucking cool for me to see, especially like knowing your longitudinal story of where you kind of came from and then where you are right now. That's some cool shit, for real. Anyways, if you are unsure, but you are kind of sure, then Unified's initiation to trading and technical analysis is a better place to start. It's a lot less of a time and financial commitment, and will get you a discount, which would equate to the other programs full price anyways, if you decide to get into them at a later date. So no rush, of course. And that one's right here for you. It's a lot more basic. Again, watch the video that comes with it, because it could be that you're maybe even above the level of content in there already. PineScript Mastery. This is from Mr. Morenfall himself, the coder of the Jewel, and also this lovely application right here, which actually can be going through a major update soon enough. And he will teach you how to create your own indicators in PineScript, which is native to TradingView. In our partners tab over here, we got Caretaker STC. This is no longer an annual subscription. God damn it, Morenfall, change that. No, just kidding. But seriously, no, it'll be updated on the new app. That is going to be a lifetime subscription now. Lifetime subscription. It's just going to be a lifetime. You buy it once, it's yours for life. And by the way, if you bought it priorly before that announcement, which I think I brought out a few days ago, it's applied retroactively. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't need to email us. We've already gone ahead and done it. You have it for life, whether you like it or not. And then the RSI indicator over here, same deal. It is a lifetime purchase. And that is there for you. And you've seen both these indicators plenty of times on video. And Bitcoin now at 29,800. Nice. And then we have Jack with his group psychology mentoring program, which is essentially a virtual meeting on a weekly basis where he will run you through your trades. And it is required that actually you come in with prior knowledge of technical analysis there, because he's not going to go over that. He's going to go over like how to actually create a workable plan and deal with your own inner demons. And then on top of that, he also has his video program, which is similar, I suppose, in a few ways. However, instead of virtual meetings, just the videos. So with that in mind, I would like to wish you once again a sincere best of the best for the start of 2021. I know that I joke around a lot of times, and maybe it's a little bit out of place. But hey, if you're looking for 2021 to change everything, well, it's not going to happen on its own, but it could happen if you take responsibility for it. So with that in mind, it's, as always, the more responsibilities that you take, the more potential amazing things that you can have in your life. So with that in mind, I want to wish you the best of the best and the happiest of the happiest once again. Take care, and until next time.